Hi, welcome back to my channel. It's going to be a really fun video because I'm going to be taking you apartment hunting with me as I try to find the perfect med school apartment for me in Washington, D.C. For those of you who don't know, my name is Monika and I'm going to be starting medical school in the fall in Washington, D.C. And I know I'm starting this process kind of early. It's still, March and school doesn't start until June, July. But finding an apartment for me is one of the most important things that I want to kind of get solidified and done with relatively early. I'm definitely a homebody, so my apartment and my space and my room, they just mean a lot to me. And I know I'm going to just be spending hours of my time inside studying. So I want to find a place that kind of keeps me calm, keeps me centered, and kind of really fits my personality. So I'm going to be touring 4 apartments and I'm going to be showing you all of the apartments that I toured, and I'll give you a little bit of kind of like my thought process when I was touring them and what I thought about each of the apartments that I saw. And before we get started, if you haven't done so already, make sure you subscribe to this channel. Make sure you like this video if this is something that's interesting to you so I can do more of these in the future, and definitely follow me on Instagram. But if this is something that interests you, just keep on watching. Alright, so this first apartment, I thought it was a little bit darker. I really like light. I like my room and especially my kitchen to be very lighted. And I think part of it was that they just didn't lift the shades off of the windows. But overall, like, I just thought it was really dark. And I would prefer more light in especially the living areas and definitely the kitchen, just because I think it just brightens up the whole place. It gives it a really kind of nice calming vibe. And yeah, so I did not like the fact that it was just a little more on the darker end. One good thing about this apartment was that they gave me the option of having it come furnished. So with the furniture that you saw, I wasn't the biggest fan of the furniture there, so I don't think I'm going to be using that option, but I like that that's an option that they give you. It makes it easier to, I guess, move. The other thing was that this apartment only had street parking, and that's not something that I'm a really big fan of. I am going to be bringing my car to school, and I do want like a designated area where I can park, because otherwise parking becomes a little bit of a hassle, especially in DC where parking is already such a hassle. So yeah, I didn't like that either. So overall, I would give this apartment about a 5 out of 10. It really wasn't kind of what I wanted, and the rent is relatively high. I believe it's $1,700, and that doesn't include utilities. So I just didn't check a lot of my boxes. I definitely can't imagine spending hours in there like studying. So this apartment is definitely kind of like a no-go for me. The second apartment is actually a 2-bedroom, and I thought it was a great deal for a 2-bedroom. So comparing this to the first apartment that we saw, which was $1,700 for a 1-bedroom, this is actually $1,750 for 2 bedrooms, which I think is actually a great price and a really great deal. And I really like that overall the apartment was relatively lighted, and the kitchen, they were kind of redoing the kitchen, so that was really nice. They said that they wouldn't really like put a microwave in there, which I was like, why not? I think every apartment should have a microwave, but I don't mind buying my own microwave. My only issue with this apartment was that it did, I don't know if you guys could see that, but it looked out into the trash area, and I was a little bit worried about the smell. Like, it was like directly above where you would throw out the trash, or where the entire building throws out trash. So yeah, that was a little bit of a bummer, but I really like the fact that for the most part utilities are included. And the only thing additional would be internet and then parking, which is, I guess, internet would be like another $100 and then parking would be another $100. If I shared this place with someone else, I think it's such a good bang for your buck. My only issue is that I don't know if I want to live with another person. Comment below if you kind of have any opinions about like if you like living with other people or if you like living more by yourself. I'm definitely the kind of person that likes to live by myself. I like my own space, and especially when you're going through something kind of rough and stressful like medical school, I want my space to be my own and not necessarily have to deal with you know, everything else that comes along with living with another person. Granted, there are a lot of positives to that as well, but for me, that's just not something that I'm particularly looking for. But again, this is such a good deal that it's definitely something that I'm thinking about. So overall, I would give this apartment like a 7 out of 10. It definitely checked off a lot of my boxes. I really liked the light in there. I liked that there was enough space. The kitchen was really nice too. And then the fact that you have assigned parking, granted it's for, you know, more money, but I think it's totally worth it. So the third apartment, it kind of looks very similar to the second apartment, and that's because they're in the same building. It's just a studio, but I think for like the price, it's a really, really good deal. The biggest issue I have with studios is not knowing really kind of where you put like your bed and like your couch and all that stuff. So comment below, just looking at the studio, how you would kind of design the place, like where you would put everything, because that gives me a lot of ideas, because that's one of the things that I struggle with the most, is like knowing where everything would fit in a way that it like all makes sense. But the other thing about this studio and this building in general, and I don't know if I mentioned this for the other apartment that we saw in the same building, is that it is a little bit of an older building, and that's just, it is what it is. You know, it's just something that I have to kind of keep in mind. You know, with older buildings, sometimes management can be a little bit tricky and things can break a little bit more easily. But again, for the price that you're paying, I think it's definitely well worth it. And the last piece about this building is the fact that it is a walk-up, so you don't really have an elevator, which I feel like for the most part isn't really an issue for me. I like love taking the stairs, I love walking, all that stuff, but I think for moving, I've just noticed that that can just be so annoying, because for the most part I'm going to be moving myself, or my friends are going to help me, and I just hate creating that inconvenience for, I guess, other people. But all in all, I think this is a really good deal and definitely something that I'm thinking about too. Overall, I would give the studio, again, like a 7 out of 10. My only, again, concern is the fact that I just don't know where I would situate all of like my furniture. So if you could help me with that, just comment down below and let me know how you would put all your stuff in there.
Would you be good to me? Good to me. How nice if I just could let you in, let you in. I know you could be my remedy, my remedy. How long will you keep trying? I know it's not, babe. It's not.
Okay, so apartment number 4 was by far one of my favorite apartments. And the funny thing about that is that this apartment isn't actually in DC. Because I'm going to have my car, I felt like maybe I could do a little bit of a longer commute. And so I've been looking at places a little bit outside of DC and just kind of broadening my scope and seeing what options I have available. And so this is one of those apartments. Love the flooring and I love the view, and definitely the light that comes into the apartment is just amazing. The other thing is that the management of the company is kind of like family run. Like they don't outsource it to like a property management company, which I love, because I don't know, I just feel like there's an extra level of care that goes into kind of managing a property that you own, rather than like outsourcing it to like an intermediary. I also think that the rent was amazing, and they also include basically all the utilities except for internet, and they give you an assigned parking spot, which I was like, this is amazing. This is kind of everything that I wanted. So the only issue with this unit is the fact that they kind of want someone to move in ASAP. And school, again, doesn't start for me until I want to say July, maybe August, but I think orientation is in July. So I don't want to move too early. I just think that would be a lot of months of rent that, quite frankly, like I don't want to pay. So overall, I think that I would give this unit like a 10 out of 10. It had everything that I wanted. And I actually forgot to mention that their rooftop was just incredible. Like the view was so nice. And the woman told me that during like the 4th of July, when there are fireworks going on in DC, the rooftop just gives you an incredible view of the fireworks. So that's something I guess to look forward to. But because they want me to move in relatively quickly, I just don't think that's something that I can do at the moment. But I think for the rent and for the area and just kind of everything that comes along with it, and just how the unit looked in general, it was like everything that I wanted. All right, so thank you so much for joining me on this kind of apartment hunting video. I hope this was something different. I hope it was fun. I had a lot of fun touring different apartments. My home and my space is something that's so sacred to me and something that's so important to me, that these are the kind of things that really, really matter. And I think they put me in a really good headspace to be productive and study a lot whenever school does start. But thank you so much for coming along with me. If these are the kind of videos that you enjoy, just let me know in the comments below, and make sure you like this video. Make sure you subscribe to this channel and definitely follow me on Instagram. And I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.
Talk to me